Hi Year 9s, hopefully you've had a look at the introduction to the task video and you understand what you're going to be doing, because in this video we're going to start creating the parts for the clock frame. Okay, specifically in this video we're going to be doing the initial sketching. So what you'll need to do is open up a brand new model, which you can do by clicking File, New Design, okay, here in Fusion 360. When you open up this model, it'll look something like you see on my screen here. Yours might look slightly different, but you certainly will have the toolbar ribbon up the top here with all the various tools that you'll need, especially in the sketch palette for this video. You'll have your browser on the left here, which is going to get filled up with different things as we work through, and the timeline down the bottom. Alright, some really important things that I might do throughout is change my view using this thing called the Navi Cube. The Navi Cube allows you to look at front views, right hand views, top views, back views, left hand views, bottom views of an object, and you can always click home to get back to this isometric view that you see here. It's important you follow how I go about starting my sketching so that yours ends up on the same planes. Because we're working on what's called the Cartesian Axis, it's important that we know that Y is an upright plane, as if it was a wall, so going straight up. X is going along, okay, horizontally, as is Z. Okay, really important that you understand those three Cartesian axes as far as what we're going to be doing when we start sketching and so on. So to start off with today, I'm going to start with a brand new sketch. So I'm going to click Create Sketch, and it's important that I don't pick this bottom plane. I need to pick one of the two upright planes, ideally the one to the right hand side here. Okay, so please try and pick this one, it will make it much easier for you. Alright, now that we're into this plane, I'm going to zoom out a bit so I've got a bit more view, and this works really well if you have a mouse with a wheel in the middle, because you can scroll in and out at this point, and if you click and drag with a wheel you can move your screen around. Now my first step in creating my clock is going to be to start creating the top and bottom pieces here, right? They're 300mm long, right, and there's a little rebate on the ends. Now from what we remember about rebates when we've done them in class is that rebates are always half the thickness of a piece of material, and you can see that our material thickness is 19mm thick. Okay, the width of the material is 42mm, it's shown on the right hand side here. So going back to mine, I'm going to start with the line tool for this particular task. So I'm going to click the line tool right up here. You can also find it in the menu, and if you hit the L key on your keyboard. So now I've done that, I always start on this point here. This is my point of origin. So I'm going to make a line 300mm long. So I've clicked once and let go of the mouse, and now I've just typed in the dimension I want, and you can see to the right of it we have the 90-degree angle. If I hit enter, I now have a 300mm line. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we can see the whole length. Oops, too far. There we go. So 300mm long line. Now, because I am going to need another line in here somewhere, so I'm just going to add this in now. I'm not worried about the length at this point. Alright, I can hit the escape key to escape out of the tool like I just did there. And I need to dimension how thick my material is now. So I'm going to use the D key on my keyboard, or in the sketch tool menu here, the sketch dimension tool. So I could click on both lines here, and then we're going to give it the dimension. We know our material is 19mm thick, so we're going to put that in and click enter. Alright, so there we go. We've got a line which is somewhere where we might need it. Next we're going to have a go at drawing in the rebate joint in here. So I'm going to come out from my first line by 9.5mm. So again, I've clicked, I've dragged, then I've let go of the mouse so that I can type in the dimension. Then I'll hit enter on the keyboard and it will give me the dimension. I'm going to hit L on the keyboard again to get my line tool back. And I'm going to go straight down this time by 19mm, because that's the thickness of our material. And now I'm going to grab the end of this line, and I want it to be pretty close to this one, but I'm not really sure if it is yet. It might be anywhere, it may not actually be right in line with it. To make sure that it is, I'm going to click one dot, hold shift on my keyboard, click the other, right click and tell them to be coincident to each other. Oh, sorry, can't do coincident, my apologies. Try that again. Right click, horizontal vertical constraint, which means they're now horizontally constrained to each other. I'll hit the L key again on my keyboard, I'm going to add in a little dimension between them so I know that everything is nice and square here. And do the same down the bottom, so 9.5 millimeters out. You see this time it automatically goes to it because it can see the other line up the top. So we'll click there, we'll go up by 19 millimeters. Again, I have to type the dimension in for that one. And finally, clicking both points and using the horizontal constraint and one last line between the two. When I click this, you'll notice that all of a sudden I get this orange shape. Alright? That orange shape indicates to me that I now have a full closed face of a shape. One thing I do want to point out is this little line here you can notice is blue. So for some reason, probably because I allowed it to line up with this line when I first put it in, it hasn't actually fully constrained that line. So I'm going to do that now. So I'll hit the D key on my keyboard to get the dimension tool. Click on both these lines and put in 9.5 millimeters. Right, now it's fully constrained. I'm going to repeat that whole process now for the other side. Okay, so I'm going to go through it one more time so you get the idea. So I'm going to do it way out over here. I'm not worried about whether it's really close to the one on the left or not. So I'll go straight up and going to make sure I put in 300 millimeters and 90 degrees, and I've got my line there. I'm not worried about the fact that it's blue in this particular case. Right, from here I'll do my next line, the one that kind of went straight down like this, and I'll make sure that this one, using the dimension key on my keyboard, is 19 millimeters away from the first one, like that. Next I can go ahead pressing the L key to get my line tool back to create the rebate. So 9.5 millimeters there, 19 millimeters up, and I'll do the same at the top, so 9.5 across, 19 millimeters down. Now the very last thing I need to do before I put the last two lines in is make sure my 2 points of my lines here, holding shift on the keyboard. When I click them both, you can see they're both dark blue now. Making sure that they are horizontally constrained. So I'll do the same up here. Click one, hold shift, click the next, right click, horizontal, vertical. Right. So there we go. I have almost finished this side. Just the last one, L key on the keyboard for the line tool again. Line there, and there's my two sides for my clock frame. Alright, let's just hit escape so we're not in any tool right now, and we'll go back to the technical drawings to have a quick look. Now as you can see, so far we've done this piece and this piece, and I've just noticed something. I've gone and put my rebates on my sides, not my top and my bottom. So I am going to have to alter these, but I'll alter them later, and you'll find out how we do that once we go to move them into place. So at this point, we've got both of those ones done. I now need to do these two. Okay, and we can see here the dimensions are really clear for this one, 281 millimeters from top to bottom and 19 millimeters wide. So let's go back and we'll draw those. This time we're going to use a different tool. We're going to use the rectangle tool. It's even easier. We pick a point, we drag it out. Okay, I've let go of my mouse now. I'm going to type in 19 millimeters for the height, hit tab on my keyboard, and 281 for the length. Hit enter, I've got one. I'm going to do this again, 2-point rectangle, click a point, type in 19 millimeters for the height, and 281 millimeters for the length. And that's my sketching done. I've now sketched all the shapes I need for the different parts of my clock. And of course, I've done my left and my right on the wrong sides. You could do them at the top and the bottom and you'll get a better result, but it's not a particularly major issue if you don't. So there we go. We've gone ahead and we've sketched. Head on to the next video to see how we make these objects 3D. Thanks for watching.